All right, today we're diving into something pretty amazing. We're going to open up a surgeon's toolbox, but this isn't your typical kit. Forget scalpels, forget sutures. This one, it's filled with pure, focused light. We're talking about the ophthalmic lasers that have totally changed the game for eye surgery.
I mean, think about it. What if a surgeon could operate on your eye without ever using a blade? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? The idea that you can reshape, repair, and heal one of the most delicate parts of our body with just a beam of energy? It's wild. But here's the thing. This isn't some far-off future. It's happening right now, in the world of ophthalmology.
So yeah, that's the core idea here, surgery with a focused beam of light. We're going to break down how different kinds of light, different colors, different wavelengths, act like super specialized tools, each with one very specific, very precise job to do inside the eye. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's open up this laser toolbox and meet the tools of light. You'll see that each laser uses a very specific wavelength, and that's the key, because it's how that light interacts with your eye tissue that makes all the difference. It's what allows for all these different procedures with just stunning accuracy. First up, we've got the argon laser. Now, the best way to think about this one, it's the precision welder of the group. It shoots this blue-green light, and that specific color gets soaked up by stuff in the retina, like melanin and hemoglobin. When that happens, the light turns into heat, and that heat lets surgeons, well, weld. They can seal off tiny, leaky blood vessels. This is absolutely critical for treating conditions like diabetic retinopathy. Okay, so if the argon laser is a welder, our next tool, the diode laser, well, you can think of it as a microscopic sledgehammer. Seriously, it uses these really powerful, super short pulses of infrared light to create a tiny shockwave. The technical term is photodisruption, and what this lets a surgeon do is just, poof, vaporize and clear away unwanted tissue. A perfect example is that cloudy film that can sometimes form after cataract surgery. The YAG laser just clears it away, and bam, vision is restored. Okay, check this out. 193 nanometers. Just let that sink in for a second. That is an incredibly short wavelength, way, way down in the ultraviolet part of the spectrum. And this tiny number, it's the secret sauce for our next tool, which is probably the most famous one of them all. And here it is, the excimer laser. This is the master sculptor. Now get this. Instead of using heat, like the argon laser, its high-energy UV photons have just enough juice to literally break the molecular bonds in the cornea. This was a huge leap forward. It's basically a form of cold cutting. It vaporizes tissue molecule by molecule with almost zero heat damage to the surrounding area. And that's what makes the mind-boggling precision of LASIK even possible. So this table kind of puts it all together, right? You can see our whole toolbox at a glance. We've got our welder, the argon. We've got our precise cutter, the diode, and our sculptor, the excimer. But there are others too, like the diode laser, which uses infrared to go even deeper, and the femtosecond laser, which makes these ultra-short pulses for creating flaps. But the big idea, the main takeaway, is simple. For every job, there's a specific kind of light. You just have to pick the right tool. Okay, so we've met the tools in the box. Now let's see how a surgeon actually uses them. We're going to start with the first big technique, photocoagulation. And really, it's just a fancy way of saying healing with heat. So here's how it goes down. The surgeon aims a beam of light, usually from that argon laser we talked about, right at the retina. The pigments in that tissue then grab onto that light and, boom, convert it into heat. The temperature goes up to around 60 to 100 degrees Celsius, just enough to cause the proteins to coagulate. It creates this tiny therapeutic seal. It's the perfect way to stop those pesky, leaky blood vessels we mentioned. And this is what's so brilliant about it. The surgeon can be incredibly precise, targeting just the outer layers of the retina to make that seal. And they do this while completely preserving the delicate nerve fibers on the inside, the ones you actually need to see. It's just an incredible balancing act between power and finesse. All right, so if photocoagulation is all about welding with heat, our next technique is, well, it's the complete opposite. This is called photoablation, and it has nothing to do with heat. This is the science of sculpting with the energy of light itself. This is the magic that makes the excimer laser work. Remember those high-energy UV photons? They don't need to generate heat because they are so powerful, they can just snap the bonds holding molecules together. The tissue just vaporizes, one microscopic layer at a time. It's that cold process we talked about, and it lets a surgeon sculpt with a precision that you could never, ever get with a physical blade. Not even close.
So let's just put them head to head to make it super clear. You've got photocoagulation. That's thermal. It uses heat to weld. Then you've got photoablation. That's non-thermal. It uses pure energy to sculpt. See? Two totally different approaches, using different tools from our toolbox designed for completely different jobs.
Okay, so we've looked at the tools, we've looked at the techniques, but so what? What does this actually mean for people, for patients? Let's connect all this cool science to the real-world treatments that are literally saving and restoring sight for millions.
And when you look at the big procedures people have heard of, you can actually see our toolbox at work. You've got refractive surgery, like LASIK or PRK. Yep, that's our sculptor, the excimer laser. Dealing with retinal issues like diabetic retinopathy, that's our welder, the argon laser. And that cleanup job after cataract surgery, that's our sledgehammer, the YAG laser, clearing the way. Every tool has its purpose.
And this is really the bottom line. It's the precision. We're talking sub-micron precision. That's what makes all of this possible. It's not just a small step up from old methods, it's a total transformation. It's what turns what used to be a really complex surgery into something that can be a routine outpatient procedure. It's a true game changer. All right, so let's wrap this up. What are the big things to remember? First, think of these lasers as a surgeon's toolbox, but filled with light. Second, remember the two main techniques. You've got photocoagulation, that's using heat to weld the retina, and you've got photoablation, using UV light to sculpt the cornea. Those two methods are what make things like LASIK and treating diabetic retinopathy possible, and it all comes down to one simple idea: using the right tool, the right light for the right job. It's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it, isn't it? We've managed to take light, something so fundamental, and turn it into a surgical tool with almost unbelievable precision. It makes you wonder, right? If we can heal and reshape our most delicate organ with a beam of light, what's next? What other impossible things are we going to fix?